Hey guys, Bang. I literally just got back from walking 11 miles through the freaking pouring rain. It was the craziest experience of my life. And now I have two burgers sitting in front of me. So we're going to do a little mukbangy bang. I was talking to my friend recently and he was like, "What makes a good sexual partner?" And something that this is a very interesting topic for me specifically because I haven't had a lot of sexual partners. However, I've had a lot of sexual partners who have been not very respectful, I think. Ugh, yikes. Hate to say that out loud. So, I made a very short and sweet guideline of what makes a very good sexual partner, at least for me. Okay, this is very much like my opinion and my lived experiences, so it's not going to apply to everyone. Okay, it is not. However, I made little like 3 point note with like some breakdowns, and so this started out with A being you have to be somewhat educated in the sense that you should probably know where all the body parts are, and not only know where all the body parts are but also like have like a deeper understanding of what the anatomy is, especially the female anatomy, because for a while the female anatomy went undiscovered and unexplored and really like swept under the rug for a long time. And so we recently even found out that like the clit even has like 10,000 nerve endings, and even more than that now. They originally thought it was only 10,000 because that was a study done on pigs. So it's like, well, we have a long way to go, I think. So, location of various body parts, but also just like a deeper understanding of what those body parts, like where they extend. Because I know for a lot of women, like it's like the stimulation that you get from your area down there goes way far beyond just like the head of the clit. So, yeah, just some ideas for to start your journey into the female anatomy. The next one under the educated branch is understanding of what consent is. I think that's, a lot easier said than done because a lot of people have that like general understanding. It's like, consent is when they say yes or when they're kissing you back. But it's like, actually, no, consent is enthusiastic. It can be revoked at any time. It is a general, like, you have to ask the person, do you want to do this? And you don't like have to do it in that like structured way. It can be more casual if you need it to be, but consent will always be an enthusiastic, informed yes. So understanding of what consent is, the nuances to what sex is, and the goals or the lack thereof of sex. And when I say goals, it's like, I've seen a lot of things where it's like, sex shouldn't have the weight that it carries when there is a goal of orgasming at the end, because it should be a mutual exchange of pleasure compared to just like having a goal of having an orgasm or like having your partner like ejaculate or whatever. But yeah, so I get a little bit like, I think I fall prey to this one especially because I'm like, wait, I wanted you to like enjoy it and like have your happy ending or whatever. But it's like, well, we should be happy for the journey, not for the destination. Anyways, after the educated branch comes number B. That's B in ASL. We have A, which is educated. B, which is foundation of compatibility and communication. This is the bulk of what good sex is. It's the history that you have with your partner and the sense of self that you carry within your own core. Okay, so like the history is like, how much do you know about your partner, what they like, what they don't like, what they enjoy having done, what they don't like having done, the intensity, the pace, the position. And all these things have to do with the established trust. Okay, so it's like kind of, this is the under the iceberg stuff. It's like the part where you need to be educated, the part where you need to know your partner and have that established trust. And it's like the trust where it's like, the basic one where it's like they're not going to hurt you, but they also know that like, if you're uncomfortable or whether you like something or not, and just like that kind of mutual understanding that you have with a person, even outside of the realm of being intimate with someone. And the next one under the history subpoint, which is like environmental safety, it's like how much do you feel like fully trusting this person within this space to have such an intimate act with someone. And I know that not everyone thinks about sex this way, but I think of sex this way. And I think it's super, like, I don't know, it's super important to be emotionally safe and physically safe when you're when you're a woman and you're giving your body to someone, because that's essentially kind of like what you're doing. So it's like, how much do you know of what they enjoy, what they don't enjoy, what the length of time speaking. So again, this is under the history subcategory. Length of time speaking. So I saw a study where it's like, obviously, well, not obviously for some people, but it just kind of makes sense that the longer you're in an established relationship, the more boundaries and the more trust that you're going to have with said partner, hopefully. And so the length of time correlates directly to the pleasure that you have or receive or give in an intimate act. So if you're together versus 6 months versus 6 years, obviously the 6-year relationship will probably have more pleasure involved, hopefully, if we're communicating correctly and all else goes well. So yeah, that's like the historical part of the foundation of the compatibility. And then the next part of the foundation of compatibility, so it goes like history, and then it also goes sense of self. And so sense of self is super important, because for a while I was having intimate relationships with people and I didn't have a great sense of self. I kind of just had like a go with the flow kind of attitude, like whatever they wanted to do, I was very happy to, well, not happy to, I just wanted to be kind of like that person who didn't make life hard for other people. And that meant putting other people above my own self-worth for a while. And so it came to a point where I recognized that I needed to stop doing that, where I had to kind of have a voice within the relationship or within these like intimate acts that I'm having with people. Because I think it's pretty easy for like women to fall into like this docile kind of like submissive role when you're engaging in an intimate act with someone, because, you know, there are so many like stereotypes around sex, and it's just like, oh my goodness, you just want to, I don't know, for at least from my point of view, it's like you want the other person to feel good. And I don't know, for a while my sense of self was the expense of the other person feeling good. And so now I think I have to do a better job of maintaining that sense of self when I have intimate moments with people. And so it's kind of like I need to have a stronger sense of self versus a more adaptable sense of self, which is what I had previously. And so I find myself submitting like less to certain acts, or even not confronting, but having reciprocal discourse with someone that I'm having an intimate act with, based on like what I like, what I don't like, what felt good, and even like the time spent before, the time spent after engaging in that intimate act is a very perfect time to kind of like debrief, or I don't know, not debrief, but just have genuine conversation about what just happened. So it involves understanding what you enjoy from sex, what you like, what you dislike. Again, like the intensity, the pace, the position, the verboseness or lack thereof when you engage in that act, and the ability to communicate those interests with that partner. So I'm going to go over. We have educated. We're educated and we know the different body parts. We understand consent, all the nuances, blah, 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 blah. We have B, the foundation and the compatibility / communication that goes on during your relationship. And that involves the history and your sense of self. So now we go on to C, which is kind of the actual iceberg itself, which is the act of actually having sex. And so I broke this down into 3 parts specifically for myself. 1, it's the initiation of sex. 2, it's the actual penetrative aspect, or for more non-traditional roles. It's not penetration. Okay, well, I'm talking about more heterosexual relationships. I'm sorry. Like, I can't really speak to anything else because I haven't had that experience, so I will not do that. So, C, we have active sex, initiation, penetration, and aftercare. Those are the three things that I feel like is the actual iceberg of what sex is to me. And so under the initiation branch, it's like you have to have that enthusiastic, informed consent. Okay, that's what I talked about earlier. And then after we get past that little initiation of the initiation, you have the foreplay, which is awesome. I feel like a lot of people forget about this, which I think is the most fun thing, because sometimes it's like the lead up is sometimes even better than the actual, like, at least for me, sometimes the lead up. Well, I think that's honestly very true for women, because not a lot of women come from just penetrative sex. I think the lead up is, if not probably, like super, super, super important, because it's like the difference between sticking it in dry versus like having the patience and the mutual enjoyment of that slow build. And even if it's not slow, the fast, intense build before you get to the actual penetrative act. So we have the initiation, enthusiastic consent, foreplay, and then we have the penetration, which is very person dependent. I don't want to speak for anyone because everyone is very different within that actual aspect, but again, it's like the duration that someone is engaging in said penetration, the position, the verboseness or lack thereof, and then also like the nonverbal cues that you communicate when you are doing the penetrating or getting penetrated. There's just so many like different, it's like, do you like to switch off between like oral and then go back to penetration, or just have penetration, or I don't know why I'm whispering. It needs to be less taboo than it is. That's why I'm trying to do this video, also for myself, because this might change over time, and this is how I like it now, and I want to be able to reflect on said likes and dislikes and kind of get it out there. So there are so many things that go into penetration, along with just the duration, position, blah, 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 blah. It's like communicating enthusiasm to your partner throughout. It's like it's not that you need to be like all like super verbose about it. I mean, if you want to, that's totally your jam, but it's like, I think at least porn does a really good job of over exaggerating some of those verbose aspects. The main point that I like to make is that it should be super fun. Like, you should literally be able to laugh during it. It should not be like super intense. At least for me, like, I want to be able to have fun and like kind of like let go of all my qualms and all the other things that are scary. Like, for me at least, it needs to be low stakes, because that's where I feel like the best sex I've had is, because it's like super exciting when it can be serious and fun at the same time, because it's a fun thing to engage in. Like, it's silly. I really think it's like should be more silly than it is. The person should probably check in if you're doing okay. I think I love it when they do that. That makes such a good sexual partner, at least for me. It's like you're communicating enthusiasm, you're also checking in and making sure that like everything that you're still engaging in is consensual and that they're having a good time. The rhythm and the flow is super important. Do you want to take more time leading, or do you want to take more time following, or do you want to take more time being dominant or submissive? It's like all that fun stuff. And then if you want to mix it up and have like oral and penetration and then also like sex toys and stuff, I think that can be super fun depending on the person that you're doing it with. So that's kind of like what I think under the umbrella of the penetration aspect. So for C, we have active sex, which is initiation, penetration, and now aftercare. Oh, this is where I have the biggest qualms with the people that I have had intimate relations with. There's only been, I think, like one person who has been so amazing at aftercare, just like making sure, and that's obviously the person who I was in the longest, well, not longest relationship, actually, the most healthy relationship with. It's like aftercare is whatever makes you feel safe and reassured after the act of initiation and penetration, because the aftercare is just like you want to be held, or at least I want to be held, or it's like whatever you feel is like helpful for you after such sometimes an intense act. It's can be verbal affirmations, it can be cuddling, it can be like soft touches, it can be literally taking a nap. But sometimes I think that I engage in interesting acts with people and then they go to sleep. And then I'm sitting there and I'm wondering, well, was that just you having a wank? Or was that like a mutual act between the both of us? And that's what I feel aftercare does such a great job of doing, because that gives you space to even talk about different things that you enjoyed after everything is said and done. Or if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. You can go to bed, but it has to be kind of that mutual understanding or some sort of communication between the two of you, that whatever happened, both people need something after it, whether you need a nap or whether you want to be hugged or all those things. I think you don't even have to debrief, but just having some sort of, even the check-in portion, it's like, are you okay after all of that? Do you need anything? I think even just the open-ended question, do you need anything? And sometimes the open-ended question can be quite scary for women because they don't want to feel over, at least for me, I'm not going to speak for women, I don't want to feel as if I'm asking for more after such an interesting act being done. But in some way I feel I deserve to have that question asked, and I deserve to be comforted after such an intimate moment. I think it's super important to ask, just, are you okay? Do you need anything? Do you need water? And maybe not even asking an open-ended question, but do you need water, or do you need to be hugged, or anything just like that to make people feel reassured. Because a lot of the time, at least from the research that I've seen, people engage in intimate acts and that brings the women closer to the person that they're sleeping with. But in opposite fashion, the men feel a little bit more withdrawn. So I don't know. I would like to be reassured that I wasn't just used as a wank. So again, to go over everything, at least this is just mainly for myself, okay? I don't need to be like preaching at you, because this is primarily just how I see things and how I want my partner to know how to engage with me. So A, educated. B, foundation of compatibility and communication. C, the actual act of sex. So if you guys, I hope this was helpful. I don't really know. This is kind of helpful for me and kind of not. Oh, and here's my burger that I've been trying to eat this whole time. Anyways, yeah. If I'm missing anything, let me know.